This video started out as a text response, but it was going to be way too big, and text responses just get buried anyway. It's a response to Don's video on his religious beliefs, the conflict with the amazing atheist, and all that sort of shit. Um, while not agreeing with Don's position on religion, I value his right to express it, especially the fact that he doesn't really try to convert people. I was glad to see Don's video on the subject because I was a little worried, honestly, that it had been swept under the rug. There was a tiny reference to it in one of his videos earlier, and I kind of went, huh, I wonder about this. And, he's just given us his opinions on the subject. I especially like that there's a preface on the video that's something to the effect of being able to entertain an idea without accepting it, which I think speaks very highly of Don's character as a person. And for me, this comes in spite of his religious beliefs, and I can entertain an idea even while I disagree with it. Some points in his original video I feel were wrong. I think it was a misinterpretation of Sam Harris's quote, and there are some other things I feel just aren't inadequate, and there are some that I just disagree with. But then again, I don't believe him. Don believes him, and this is a video about what he believes. He's not trying to convince anyone. He's saying, this is what I believe, these are the reasons for it. He does a little more in-depth explanation than that, but that's the gist of it, so you can't really attack him for that. On that note, there are some things in here like, I disapprove of this, and he uses verses from the Bible to say, this is why I believe that this is valid. But again, this is not an argument or a debate. These are his beliefs, and that's why they're there. The premise of Sam's argument, if we could get back to that, is not over just one verse of the Bible. It is about using religion to justify bad actions. This was a quote mine, I agree. It was taken out of context. I don't think that it was as drastic as Don makes it out to be. Was this his entire argument? No, I don't think it was. I think Don kind of missed the point of the argument in the first place in getting this quote mine. If you actually break down what it was, Jesus was telling this story to whoever he was with, and the lesson that he taught says pretty much there was a hard man, this man owned slaves, and this man had his enemies killed at his feet. So I think for Sam's argument, it was a valid point. Either way, Jesus is not directly saying kill them at my feet, but the story that he's telling has got a character in it that does that. So one of the things about the Bible is the many interpretations you can have at it. In my other complaints about his original video, at the end of video 2 he gets almost preachy. Don does. He does a good job through the whole thing saying, this is what I believe, this is why, this is the difference in understanding what I read. But at the very end he says, and if you believe the Gospels, you'll be happier and the world will be better, which is suggestive. It uses points and things that he believes and then applies them to me. And the Gospels are mostly good. I would say that. I'm not a great biblical scholar. I've read it. This isn't done in a way that's so disrespectful, and I can overlook it, but I just want to point it out because it barely hints at some of the reasons that I have such a negative view of religion. Even without knowing, and I don't think he intended to, it does make him sound superior to us non-believers. And it's unfounded and unprovable just by the nature of it. There's a quote that I can't remember who it's from that says, the good use religion to do good, the evil use religion to do evil, no matter how good the intention is. All that being said, I've really enjoyed Don's videos. I think that I've watched all of them at this point, over evolution and everything. His rebuttal to Venom Fang X was very good. I found them informatively, and very importantly, they're correct. They're a whole lot better than a lot of the education I got at just Biology 1 in college, where I went to school. And even then it was made very clear that due to recent court cases, we had to approach evolution as a theory and not as a fact. Now on to The Amazing Atheist. Now this will be easy because it's a 10-minute video with 5 minutes of content. If you take the word fuck out of it, it's about 5 minutes long, so we'll just start that off and it's going to be shorter and easier. Okay, so the amazing atheist says that we give the seal of approval to intelligent religious people, leading to this slippery slope that eventually will be respecting all religion. Of course, he says fuck so much that you have to watch it 5 or 6 times to really be able to pull that out of it. Then he compares it to Nazism of relocating versus exterminating the Jews. Well, obviously, the person who decides to start shooting them in the head is going to be viewed as a little more evil than the guy who says, no, maybe move them out of the country. Things one step at a time. Do you think if you actively during, first off, it's one thing to say it here. Do you think actively during the Nazi occupation of Germany, you'd be able to step outside and say, no, don't be killing them right there in the middle of the street? No, I think you would join the firing line with them, one step at a time. Do I want to see religion gone? Sure, to get rid of religion just because I don't think it's founded on principles that are solid, whether you use it for good or for not. I just don't. But I'm not nearly as unrealistic as the amazing atheist. Religion is not going to die overnight. I think the role I'm most comfortable acknowledging that it fills is that last thing that I wanted to give up before I decided that being skeptical had caught up with me, and that is the afterlife. You can say whatever you want about religion, but that's its biggest selling point, is that something will happen to you when you die. You won't just go away. Then we get into why he chose his name and the fact that Dawkins fucked it up. That being an atheist should strike fear into people. It means that you kill babies for fun. I like that. I like that kill babies for fun because it points at you as just being a prick, just being a total asshole and fucking up things that I've worked for. The religious do infer that we kill babies for fun because we don't acknowledge God and there is no morality without God according to a bunch of people, and you won't follow his rules. There's no reason for you to live without God. I have a hard enough time arguing against people with this without you telling people that atheists like to go around and fuck babies and then kill them and eat them or whatever the fuck you want to say about it. You see, I'm digressing. I see. This is the problem. I'm starting to curse, and my point is becoming convoluted. As for your amazing atheists that you redefine, I'm just going to file them in the thesaurus under asshole because while I share some of your views, especially towards religion, I've decided that I hate you. And this is the one time that I'm looking up from the script at the camera. I've decided that I hate you. You keep proving to me that while you don't give a fuck what anyone thinks, there is no reason that I should ever give a damn about what you say. Ever. I mean, ever. In looking at my original video here, I'm adding this bit after it to make sure I get an accurate telling of the parable of 10 minas, or of pounds that we're discussing. I'm going to summarize, so bear with me. A man of noble birth goes to a distant country to be appointed king. He calls 10 of his servants and gives them each 10 minas. And he says, put this to work. But his subjects hated him and sent a delegation after him to say, we don't want this man to be our king. Well, despite the delegation, the man ends up king and returns home. He sends for the servants he gave the money to find out what they'd gained. The first one comes to him and says, sir, your 10 mina has earned 10 more. And he says, well done, my servant. And he says, because you've been trustworthy in this small matter, take 10 cities. He asks the next guy, and he says, it made 5. He says, okay, you can have 5 cities. Another servant said, here is your mina. I kept it. I buried it. I was afraid because you were a hard man, and I took this to mean strict. You take out what you did not put in and reap what you did not sow. The master replied, I will judge you by your words, wicked servant. You knew, did you, that I was a hard man, taking out what I did not put in and reaping what I did not sow? Why then did you not deposit the money so that I could earn interest? Then he said to those standing by, take his mina away from him and give it to the ones who has 10 minas. Sir, they said, he already has 10. He replied, I tell you that to everyone who has, more will be given. But as for the one who has nothing, even what he has will be taken away. But those enemies of mine who did not want me to be king over them, bring them here and kill them in front of me. Since I've got a few minutes left here, and I need a way to close this, I'm adding an end buffer to it. Peace.